Welcome to the MLS Show. It is me, Baz, here for the News Round Up. All of the stuff that's happened over the last 7 days. Say it every week, basically, since I was here last week. So let's begin with our roundup. Okay, let's begin with the news that Peter Walton, head of the Pro organisation, has come out in in support of using video technology in Major League Soccer games. This coming in the wake of some calls again over the last 7 days, starting with the Orlando City New England Revolution game last weekend, which caused quite a few controversial decisions. And Peter Walton's come out and kind of threw his weight behind that. We've also seen a case of mistaken identity in the Columbus Crew New York City game. Things like that shouldn't really be happening, I don't think, at the highest level in Major League Soccer. But Peter Walton said the game is being played at such a pace these days that a video camera is the only way to capture it. He wants replays for big calls, not for all of them. And he doesn't feel it'll take away from the tempo of the match. Peter feels, I'm all for video replay, and I've been one of the ones banging the drum for it for quite a while. I think it would make our referees more comfortable and confident. However, in a different article, he did go on to say we've got better referees than most other countries. Have you, Peter? Have you really? A lot of people would disagree. Listen, I am one for video evidence. I've said it when I interviewed Phil Rawlins, the Orlando City founder and president, asked him about it. I've done it on Ball Street when we do our MLS special on there. I've banged on about it. I just think it is something that would really, really help not only Major League Soccer. I think it's something that should be right across the board in world football, not just in MLS. But MLS could become a forerunner of it. Why not? I had a discussion with somebody on Twitter last week, I think it was, saying, why should it be MLS that trials it? As if it was like a slur on MLS. I think it could be used as like a trailblazing, as like, the forefront of how football goes forward. Look at it as positive. I am. I'm not looking at it as a negative for the league. I'm looking at it as a positive. But most definitely for me, something that has to come into the game. And, MLS maybe the place to start it. Why not? We've also had Orlando City head coach Agent Heath coming out and saying that in addition to that, MLS should use older, experienced European referees. There's a mandate now that says European referees have to retire at 47. And Agent Heath is saying, why can't we get them in for another couple of years? Why can't we take the ones that are coming to the end of that, coming to that cycle, 47 years of age? Why can't we employ them for a couple of years, merge them with the ones we've got, and let people take their experience, see how they referee games, and use that for the league and help them grow, because I think Pro was only only founded in 2012. It's still relatively young. These referees are making some poor calls, so why not try and aid them with more experienced referees? Let me know what you think in the comments section below about Agent Heath's idea, and also the video technology point coming into MLS. So moving on, and it kind of links in with the last story in terms of how MLS looks at certain incidents. And this one, I have to say, is one of the ones where they have made an absolute knob of themselves. I'm sorry if I offend anyone, but they are acting like dicks over this one. They've suspended DC United coach Ben Olsen for leaving his technical area to pick up a loose ball that was on the pitch during their 1-0 home defeat by FC Toronto. I can't quite get my head around this one. There's a ball on the pitch that shouldn't be there. Ben Olsen has just left his technical area to get the ball off so it doesn't disrupt the game, and he is being suspended for doing so. And it's just little things like this that I just find utterly ridiculous. We had the situation, didn't we, earlier in the season where Marco Papa scored, and Shells and Gashi ran on the pitch to celebrate. It was a 95th minute winner. He celebrated with all the players, and he'd been taken off, and he was given a ban. And it's just things like this where you think, is it necessary? Do you need to nitpick? Do you need to try and be draconian about things that don't really matter? And I just think a one-game suspension for getting a ball off the pitch that shouldn't be there anyway. How can that really help anyone? It's just really silly. For me, it's just pathetic. So MLS, stop being dicks over things like that. Get it sorted. Let me know in the comment section what you think. You might think that they're justified in doing that. If you think that, let me know why you think they're justified in suspending coach Ben Olsen for one game. Maybe you just want to say they're justified because he keeps playing De Leon in the centre of the park. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section below. Okay, moving on, staying with the referee theme. MLS has rescinded the red card shown to Parkhurst, the Columbus Crew defender who was wrongly sent off last week in their 3-2 victory over New York City. The red card should have actually gone to Tyson Wall. Ted Uncle making a right booby of it. The decision, I always find this one a really, really strange situation when referees it's a mistaken identity, because surely in that situation when players are going, it was actually him, or if Tyson Wall's there going, you've issued a red card to him. It was me. I've seen it. Listen, I've seen it in the Premier League a couple of seasons ago, Arsenal-Chelsea, when he sent off Oxlade-Chamberlain, I think, instead of Kieran Gibbs or something, or the other way round. And you just think, players are going, it was actually me that fouled him. Why would the player ask to go off? Now, I'm not saying Tyson Wall said that, but if you're not saying that when you're the offending player and your teammate's getting sent off, Michael Parkhurst surely is standing there going, say what now? You're sending me off for what? It wasn't me, it was someone, I don't know. I think, anyway, MLS have issued, the Pro issued, they give Ted Uncle a bit of a kick in their statement, to be honest with you, saying they should be able to identify the perpetrator. Great word there. And he got it wrong. So Parkhurst, at the time I'm recording this video, Parkhurst has had his rescinded. Tyson Wall, I'm not sure what his punishment should be. Personally, I just think it makes it very, very simple for everybody if they just suspend Tyson Wall instead. He just becomes Parkhurst. It clears it all up. Because in the Premier League a couple of seasons ago with the Arsenal one I've just been talking about, whichever player was sent off, I can't remember off the top of my head, whichever player was sent off, it was rescinded, but the other player didn't get a ban, the one who it should have been. And that to me is just utter berserkness as well. But let me know what you think in the comment section below about that incident as well. So some news for FC Dallas fans, and that is that Victor Ochoa, called Ochoa here, the one who plays for Leicester, so maybe it's that. And the lights have gone out. And Ryan Hollingshead have signed new long-term deals with FC Dallas. Great news, particularly, I love this little bit of news, I've written it down here, particularly for Ochoa, I'll call him, who's just learned that he will now receive a free year's food from Chipotle. And apparently better MLS players get these gold cards that get you free food. Kai Kamara's got one, and is one of the players that I've seen linked, to that card. So there you go. He's getting a free year's free food of Chipotle, and apparently they're opening some restaurants in London soon. So maybe me and Ped will go down to London and sample their food, and who knows, maybe we will bump into Ochoa while we're there and try and get a freebie off him. Sticking with Dallas, some bad news for them. Captain Matt Hedges has torn his meniscus muscle and is likely to miss 6 weeks for FC Dallas. That's a big loss. Hedges, I think, is a really, really good defender. But Dallas are flying at the moment, aren't they? Absolutely brilliant victory again at the weekend over Sport and Kansas City. What a performance that was. And it looks as though Mauro Diaz will be playing this weekend. It looks as though he is back to full fitness. So one player out, Matt Hedges, which is a blow, but Diaz coming back in is basically a thumbs up for everybody who supports FC Dallas and everyone who loves watching them, just like me. Diaz back this weekend, but like I say, Matt Hedges out for around 6 weeks with a torn meniscus muscle. Sticking on the injury front, Real Salt Lake player João Plata looks to be out for around 7 to 10 days. Plata's been in absolutely sparkling form for Real Salt Lake so far. He's suffered a grade 1 hip flexor injury. No, I'm not a physiotherapist. I'm just reading my notes where I've written it down. But Plata's been in fine form. I think he scored 4 goals so far for Real Salt Lake and made another 3. He's been in absolutely brilliant form for them. So he will be a big miss over kind of the next 7 to 10 days for them. But get well quick, João, because you've been tearing it up so far this season, and I'm sure Real Salt Lake fans want you back as soon as possible. One player who looks as though he will be ready to return this weekend is Darlington Nagbe, who his injury caused storms the other week when Nigel de Jong went over the ball on him in a horror tackle, really. De Jong was then retrospectively suspended. He received a yellow card in the game, but was then upgraded to a red. Nagbe, people were fearing for how long he'd be out. Portland Timbers fans wincing when they seen him getting stretched off, but gladly it looks as though Nagbe is fit again. There's some footage this week of him back in training, so it shouldn't be too long. If he's not involved this weekend, it shouldn't be too much longer before we see Darlington Nagbe wearing his Timbers jersey again. Okay, one of the big things this week, the big stories, was Atlanta United showcasing their new training complex that's expected to cost around $60 million. A 33-acre site, including 6 fields, will hold open training sessions, tournaments, and host visiting national and international clubs as a training base. And we're seeing more and more of this, aren't we? We've seen Real Salt Lake unveiling their plans for their academy, where, and hoping to attract clubs going there, big clubs, your Arsenals and Manchester Uniteds and clubs like that, who potentially will go there and train at these facilities. So, Atlanta United really, really putting their marker down. They want to be serious about their soccer. And, we've seen already the stadium's going to look fantastic. And now there's a new world-class training complex on its way as well. Excuse me, Atlanta United certainly aren't messing around in their quest for MLS glory. Okay, a couple of stories from young American players playing in Europe. I mentioned Pulisic last week. He scored his first goal at the weekend for Dortmund against Schalke, I think it was. No, it wasn't. It was against Hamburg. It was a lovely goal. Took a corner, got it back. Took a corner, carried his run on into the penalty area, got the ball back. Lovely little shimmy with his feet. Nice little double touch. And unleashed a shot into the bottom corner of the net, and it was a brilliant goal. And I said last week I've really been impressed with him. His feet are so quick, and he looks a really, really good player. 17 years of age, playing for Borussia Dortmund. It was a great goal. Received a little bit of stick for not really knowing how to celebrate. I think he ended with something like some kind of dabby stuff going down there. Landon Donovan done a tweet that basically said Pulisic now has more goals in MLS than him and more goals in the Bundesliga than him and Taylor Twellman put together. So well done, Pulisic, you young star. Another young star, Haji Wright, who born in LA but played for New York Cosmos last season, has signed for Schalke and scored a brace on his Schalke under-19 debut. So great news for him. Liverpool have signed American Brooks Lennon. He's a kid that came over to the UK. He was about to have a trial at Aston Villa, I believe, and he went to watch Pulisic, who plays at Liverpool, had a little chat with the Liverpool academy coaches. The upshot was he got a trial. I think he scored a couple of goals. He impressed them. Anyway, he's ended up at Liverpool. He looks a really, really good prospect. Why didn't you go to Everton? So it's he's going to be looking to try and improve his game. It's great to see all these young American kids branching out at these big clubs, but I look and I think, we've got at Arsenal, there's Gideon Zelalem, sorry, who's he was on loan. He's gone on loan at Rangers. He came off the bench and scored a penalty as well for them last week. He's a player who I know is rated very, very highly at Arsenal. You put all these players together, and you've got Jordan Morris, of course, at Seattle, who turned down a big opportunity to go to Werder Bremen to stay in MLS with Seattle Sounders. Like you say, all of those players going together. Tab Ramos has got the under-20 World Cup coming up, and you see these kind of players. We've got the kid who's at Fulham as well. So you see these kind of players all getting put together with big reputations, good, young, hungry players. Who knows how good the future's going to be for the United States, and this is what we need to see, more and more young players being able to grow, but also what I personally want to see is more and more young players growing in MLS and not necessarily leaving for the four corners of the globe. I want the league to grow and get stronger, but it's great that so many young players are peaking at the same time, and hopefully they'll come through and produce a golden generation, if you like, for United States. Okay, some quick rumours flying around MLS this week. Former Everton and New York Red Bulls midfield player Tim Cahill linked with a move back to MLS when his short-term contract in China is up in early June. Colorado mentioned. I don't know, would he go there with Tim Howard maybe and have an old Everton connection? I think Cahill could still probably do a job for somebody, maybe as an impact player. I love him. He was one of my favourite players at Everton. He's quite clearly getting a little bit slower, but he still knows where the net is, still scoring in China, still scoring for Australia. So, he could come in and do somebody a job. I think he could do New York City a job, to be honest with you. Up front with David Villa, where he'd just be the person that can, win headers and take the ball in and keep hold of it. But who knows? We'll have to follow that one closely. Falcao, Colombian centre-forward Falcao, who's been, of course, at Atletico Madrid, Monaco, Manchester United, Chelsea. He has been linked with a move to MLS this summer, and Columbus Crew have been bandied around. Maybe would he go there and link up with Kai Kamara, Ethan Finlay, Justin Merrim, Higuain? Columbus Crew would have then an embarrassment of riches up front. Falcao can most definitely still cut it in MLS. I think he'd be a fantastic sign, and I think he's just a finisher. If you create chances for him, he can score goals. Maybe someone like Orlando City, although they've got Baptista in there now. But, any of these clubs, I think he would be absolutely brilliant at. Still young enough to make an impact as well. Okay, he hasn't really rediscovered his form after his knee injury, but I honestly believe that if you give him an important role in a team, create chances for him, he will score goals and he'll be a great pickup for somebody. Ex-QPR and Canadian international Junior Hoylett has been linked with a move from QPR to Besiktas. So, there is also rumours. I've seen a couple of things flying around that Vancouver Whitecaps were interested in Hoylett. I'm not sure whether he'd go back home to Canada just yet, but interesting to see. And then one player who is joining, not MLS, but he is joining New York Cosmos, is Francesco Totti. What a player. He is 40 and he's still scoring goals. He's still absolutely brilliant. So that'll be an interesting moment to see him wearing the Cosmos shirt. So, very, very interesting to see a legend like Francesco Totti landing in the United States, following on from Raul and people like that who have played for New York Cosmos. Okay, I'm just going to finish off with some of the players who are doing really, really well so far in MLS this season. Top scorers will be on the screen in a minute. Chris Wondolowski with 6 goals, Fernando Addy with 4, João Plata with 4, Dom Dwyer, Piatti, Giovinco, Morales, Barrios and Villa all have 4 goals. Top assists, Diaz and Plata with 4 apiece. Then Papa, Ajoro, Ivancic and Amiraqua with 3. They're doing really, really well at the moment, playing really well. And then the other side of it, the defensive side of it, we see the most successful tackles, Diego Chara with 33, Sarvas 30, Matarrita, the fullback from New York City on 28, Grazo from Dallas 27, Fraser aired on 26, and the top 5 interceptions in MLS: Cabrera, Seaman, Rodriguez, Bernardes and Zimmerman. So they're players who are having really, really good seasons so far in MLS. Don't forget to give us a little subscribe, share us, like us. Thank you for everybody who is watching. Thank you for everybody who is commenting. Keep that coming. I've been Baz, and I will catch you on the weekend after all the games have been played with my reaction show. Me and Ped back in the studio on Monday. See you next time on the MLS Show. Welcome to the MLS Show. It is me, Baz, here for the news roundup. All of the stuff that's happened over the last 7 days. Say it every week, basically, since I was here last week. So let's begin with our roundup. Okay, let's begin with the news that Peter Walton, head of the Pro organisation, has come out in in support of using vid for it for quite a while. I think it will make our referees more comfortable and confident. However, in a different article, he did go on to say we've got better referees than most other countries. Have you, Peter? Have you really? A lot of people would disagree. Listen, I am one for video evidence. I have been saying, I've said it when I interviewed Phil Rawlins, the Orlando City founder and president, asked him about it. I've done it on Ball Street when we do our MLS special on there. I've banged on about it. I just think it is something that would really, really help not only Major League Soccer. I think it's something that should be right across the board in world football, not just in MLS. But MLS could become a forerunner of it. Why not? You know, I had a discussion with some entity in the Columbus Crew New York City game. You know, things like that shouldn't really be happening, I don't think, at the highest level in Major League Soccer. But Peter Walton said the game is being played at such a pace these days that a video camera is the only way to capture it. He wants replays for big calls, not for all of them. And he doesn't feel it'll take away from the tempo of the match. Peter feels, I'm all for video replay, and I've been one of the ones banging the drum video technology in Major League Soccer games. This coming in the wake of some calls again over the last 7 days, starting with the Orlando City New England Revolution game last weekend, which caused quite a few controversial decisions. And Peter Walton's come out and kind of threw his weight behind that. We've also seen a case of mistaken identity.